Raven and I'm in my studio. And I'm a little bit nervous, I've never done this before. I'm just going to make sure that I press the right button so it's live. Guys, is it live? Yeah, fantastic, I'm live. Yeah, so hello, I hope everyone's having a lovely day. And I can't wait to show you around. I'm normally on my own here, so it's quite nice to have company, even though I'm nervous. So yeah, I'll show you around. I've been painting for a long time, and I've usually been doing it in barns or without toilets and without lighting and with dust everywhere, and so this is incredible to be decked out like this. And let me show you around. So right now I'm working on 10 paintings. I usually work on 10 paintings at a time, purely because of all the drying time, and I like, because the exhibition has a minimum of 10 paintings, it's good to have the conversation between the work, and yeah, I like them to be like brothers and sisters, and I like darkness and light coming through in different paintings, so I capture different things, and when one painting's doing better, the other painting leans on the other to help it. So yeah, these are what I'm working on. This is my studio. So this is where I do the augmented reality, and I do all the animations. And what's incredible here is that the camera is up here, as you can see. That's the camera. And down here is a square base where I can put the canvas. And you're going to laugh at this, this is my remote. And I literally press the remote and it takes a picture of the painting. And so you can work on 25 frames a second, so with the animations I make one little mark, and then I lean back so I'm not in the frame and I take a picture. And when they're all put through together, they make an animation. So I wanted to show you here, here's the computer with the cord where all the images come through, and they're all saved on these little cards here. So when Mark gets the animations, I name each of the paintings, or I number each of the paintings, so I use the same card for each of the paintings, so he just hopefully gets an animation that he can transfer in. And this is the computer here. Shall I show you here? And this is the Mind painting that we did, and so I'd just like to show you. I hope I'm making sense. So these are the images coming through, and this is the painting being made towards the end. So there can be up to 10,000 images for just one painting. And a lot with what Mark and me discovered is that a lot with my work I build things up and then I destroy it and I build things up, so it's my natural way of painting. So a lot of this stuff I'm not doing, you know, I've been doing for a long time. Let me show you some animations. We use a thing called green screen, and as you can see over there, there's a green canvas. So there's we use green and blue canvases, and things like this, like cut up birds, I use, and things like that to make movement within the animation. And whenever I use blue and green, Mark can then get the image and uses a keying technique. So how we discovered it originally is that a lot of the landscapes and seascapes have blue across the top line. So we discovered that when we did the keying technique for the first time about 3 years ago, soldiers could be running across the horizon line while the painting was being made. And now, keeping this in mind, so me and Mark do lots of discussions where we keep things that are green and blue purely, so we can keep a soldier within it, or we can keep a piece of footage within it. So the footage and the paint sort of move together with the sound, and I think it's really beautiful. So this is some of the animation. So imagine everything that's blue, Mark then turns into war footage or anything like that. And there's normally lots of different animations going over the top, and it's sped up a lot faster. I really love the symbolism of nature and how that represents humanity, and I like the way that it sort of creates platforms for people to delve inside themselves and their feelings. So I don't want the paintings to be telling the viewer what to think or what to feel, especially on a subject matter like this. So I just think the movement of the paint and the symbolism of nature can lend itself to anything to the viewer and be really personal. I use oil paint, and I'm really fascinated with when I mix it with white spirit, it then bleeds. So I've taken the way that I usually paint when I build things up and then I destroy it, and I've taken that quite literally, as you can see in some of these animations. So everything that's blue, Mark then transfers into footage. And I'm working a lot with the symbolism of the poppy. And I like the movement of day and night and the changing of that, so it like reflects on time. And I love the way the nature responds to the sky, you know, so the day and night and the movement of the clouds and how that has a ripple effect on the landscape. We use lots of symbolism with seeds and fetus positions and hearts. And like I think it's really important to just show we want to show the idea of growth, and that even though there's destruction, beauty comes out of it, and that nothing really dies, you know, within humanity the souls and the purity of people and the innocence of people will never be gone. What else have I got? I wanted to show you some other stuff. Hello. Thank you for waving. Let me show you. So I'm just going through here, going through all the paintings. So these are only the pictures that I download. We can, you know, as I said, like 10,000 images can be used for a painting. So these are just the ones that I can download and see exactly what I'm doing. So if I think that I'm making a mistake or I'm doing something that isn't going in the direction that I want, I can change it. Okay, so the flowers I just showed you that I do on green and blue screen, this is them. So you literally move one flower and you put a root on a couple of seeds, and then you lean back and take a picture. So you can spend hours doing this, you can spend all day and only make successfully a couple of seconds when it's sped up on the animation. And I love the beauty of the oil paint and the way that it bleeds. I think it's stunning. And remember, it's on blue screen, so this is just one layer of animation, and everything that's blue can be moving in footage of something else. It can even be another green screen that I've done. These are some, this is an animation of some soldiers or some figures. And I really like to play with perspective, so I like to make smaller and bigger birds or figures, just to play with the distance on the horizon line. So again, I'm going to show you how I do these animations. But all of this was done here, and all of this was used for the danger tree. Me and Mark get inspired by the poems, and we do storyboarding, and we discuss things and ideas and movement. And we collaborate with an amazing musician who scores the music called Mark Cannon. And together with all of this, I hope it creates something that's really moving. Yeah, I'm really inspired by growth and the meaning of that, and the symbolism of that, and things ever changing. And when destruction comes, survival arises from it. And I love the fact that this was a really precise image that I did, and now I'm just ruining it. It's probably one of my favourite things on paintings. I'm going to show you a couple more. Again, here we're back to the hearts. And the reason why I also work on 10 paintings is because sometimes I want the cleanness of a painting, so I want the paint that I've used to dry, so then I can use put the templates or put the hearts on top and move them without it affecting the background. So a lot of the painting is about waiting for things to dry. And I love watching oil paint dry because it changes as it dries as well. So this background was a start of a painting that I made with poppies and blue screen, and then I ruined it and bled it out and waited for it to dry, so then I can place these clean pieces of paper of fetuses on top. Because I love the crispness of the figures. I really want with the animations, and it makes it a lot harder, but when there's movement, like right now here there's a lot of movement on the top and it's now only affecting the bottom, but here I'm moving the light on the bottom and the planes on the top, so I've got to move around the painting for one shot. And I prefer that there's lots of movement going on in all corners, rather than your eyes just, like they're supposed to be the same as with a painting. When a finished painting, you want your eyes to move around the whole painting. There you go, and then I ruin it again. Just think oil paint is so beautiful. And I'm building up now the background for another narrative. So I'm making the moon darker. Let's see where that went. Again with the seeds and the moon. Yeah, so what I just showed you, I think it's, this. I then waited for it to dry, so it's dry now. And I place it back. And I build up the stars and put the hearts on. And because everything's dry, it doesn't interfere. I think I've recycled those hearts, so the hearts are all battered, which I kind of prefer than when the hearts were just clean. So everything is a symbolism of war and life and humanity. I've always used nature in my work to symbolise humanity and feelings. And there's nothing more symbolic than the poppy. I go trailing around shops looking for fake flowers and things that I can add to the painting. So here are fake poppies that I think work really well. Again, all the blue and green, this is why it's so the brightness of the red can be contrasted against the footage. So what you see now is not how you see it when you use your app, when it's finished. I love the explosion of the poppies and the explosion of the red. I do a lot of that, just so it looks like it's blowing in the wind and it's moving up. And I'm concentrating a lot on the bottom now, because I know on the top Mark uses blue screen and green screen, so I know there's going to be movement on the top with footage. So I try and keep everything in mind and what Mark would do, try and plan ahead of what I think that he would do. There you go. Hello. So, just want to show you some of the textures of the paintings. I'm working on the moment at painting a danger tree. I've never done that before, and so some of these paintings here have the tree, and it's a most beautiful, amazing tree, and it's really tiny and thin, and you think that the soldiers use that as an aim to hide themselves with, or as something just on no man's land to go towards. And it was no wonder the Germans used it as a target for artillery, because they saw them all going towards it. And within about 20 minutes the whole of the Newfoundland regiment were gone, and the bodies would have been there for about four months, just before anyone could identify them. They would have been rotting and unidentifiable. But this tree, I think, is so symbolic and so beautiful, and it couldn't even hide one person behind. Another thing that you may have noticed recently is that my paintings have got a lot brighter, and that's because I've been able to afford, with the new studio, with the toilet and the kettle and the fridge, I've been able to afford new paints. And art. And these are some of my favourite. I've got a lot of paints downstairs, but these are the paints that I use, so I always like to keep them close in case I get an idea and I want to do something quite immediate. But these paints can end up, you know, some of them, their pigment is absolutely stunning, and they create these amazing sky lines. And some of the colours, some of the pigments can cost £21 for something like this. And this, looking at my paintings, just makes one stem. So you can imagine, I used to have about 3 jobs trying to afford oil paint because I use a lot of it. And I think I'm going to do some painting soon, so I can show you how I do it. I'm going to put my headphones in now just in case anyone has any questions. But thank you very much for joining. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm sorry if I'm a bit nervous and rambling. But hello? Hello? I'm just going to put this here. And I use this ladder over here to change the cards. So I told you that I write underneath the paintings. I write the number of the painting, so I know which card to go to. And that one's number 62. So with this tree, I really want to add some light to it. And I also use an amazing thing that I started using now is an app. Can't remember, I think it's a sketch app. And so I wanted to show you here that I've made lines on this painting just to show, because if I'm to do things on a painting and for it not to work out, it's 3 months of work that's destroyed. So using this app, I'm able to give alterations to the paintings and give different possibilities and see what it would look like. So I've got this painting over here, so you can see that green one with the blue sky, and I feel like it's been missing something. So I've been trying to paint a tree on the foreground or on the background and changing the perspective of it, making the daisies or the white poppies more visible at the front. And I still haven't decided it, and I still have done lots of different alterations, but it hasn't come to me yet the best possible thing. But what I would have done in the past is one day I would have just felt like it and gone and painted loads of poppies in a tree and ruined it, and that would have been 3 months, you know, of a painting destroyed, which would have looked great on the animation but not on the final painting. So I've got this painting here. Got this painting here of the tree, and the tree's really black, so I want to add some white and some light on it so it looks like the lights, you know, so it's more part of the landscape. So like this tree over here originally was black, and I drew lines on the app and saw that it worked a lot better. And so I'm gonna, hello? Hello Jack, thank you for your question. So how long does an individual piece take to start to finish? Well, these 10 paintings I've been working on for the last 3 months, and they're still not finished, so normally about 3 months. And on top of that I did the animation, so normally probably about 4 months. Thank you, Jack. Right, so I'm going to get my ladder. I have a memory like a goldfish, I have to go and check again. So it's number 62. Which is here, and I want to use a new clean battery. And I also have to put my engagement ring aside every time I paint, so it feels like I get engaged every day. I ask myself, will you marry? I'm like, yes, of course. Okay, there you go. Is there any other questions? I just got a question asking whether I rotate on the paintings or whether I just work on one, and I do. I have to rotate them because I need the paintings to dry. And my mood changes a lot because I'm a girl, and I want to make sure that the paintings reflect my mood. So if I'm working on a dark painting and I'm feeling happy that day, it's not good for me to work on. But yeah, they're normally, because the paint is really thick, and the reason why I paint on the floor originally, before the augmented reality, is that all the paint, you know, if I was to lift it up, it would all fall down. So again, with all the drying, it needs to be, like literally the whole studio sometimes has the 10 paintings lying flat, so they're all drying. 69. So I put... do I have a recommended brand of paint that I use? Yes. Well, I get my paint from Cass Art, but Winsor & Newton for oil paint and artist quality paints I think are incredible. And I've really got into acrylics, which I never thought I would. Oh, gotta bring my phone. And I've been using these acrylics here, which are called heavy body acrylic, and I've been using them for the stems and just to build up bulk. And the drying on that is a lot faster. And I also kind of with where I work in the summer, the paintings dry a lot faster, so I'm able to work a lot harder. And in the winter, I spend a lot of time waiting. So sometimes I do work on more than 10 paintings during the winter, just because the paint takes a lot longer to dry. But these acrylics have really saved everything. The brightness and the pigment is fantastic. So Liquitex Professional Heavy Body Acrylic. Another question from Daniela: how long does each layer take to dry? Well, it completely is difference between whether it's acrylic or oil. The acrylics dry quite quickly, especially in the heat, and they can take a couple of days during the summer, or maybe a week or a week and a half, or sometimes 2 weeks during the winter. And the oils, I think, they're like an organic, aren't they? They're made from a plant, so they're always changing. And normally when they're drying, the water evaporates from them, so they sort of shrink and change. And yeah, I think some of the big oil paintings that I've done would take maybe 10 years to dry. And another thing I do, I tend to lose everything. So I can't find my remote. Oh, here it is. There was one thing I was really worried about that kept me up last night. Don't lose your remote because you'll be in a mess. Okay. So the card's in there and it's taking its pictures. Now I'm going to put that painting on the frame because we need the consistency for when Mark gets the pictures, so they're all at the same size. So just over 25 frames a second all round into one another. So he has a lot less work. Normally with the lights, what these are used for, normally I shut out the window and I turn off the main lights. And I have just these lights so we can stay with the consistency of the light on the image, because obviously when I use things like white spirit or things like that to create the glare, and we want it to look effortlessly done, you know? We don't want it to be visible that I've been sitting there for 3 months trying to paint it and the light's been changing and it's been day and night. So we try and keep it all consistent. So the painting now is in its frame, and I'll show you here. So all the pictures from that card have loaded up onto the computer. So I just want to show you. So this is the last image there that's just been taken. I make another, take an image, and it comes up here. So I can see what I'm doing. And it's amazing. I've always photographed my work and taken it home with me, especially in the studio or St. Martin's, and then it'd be the first thing I look at when I wake up in the morning or when I go to bed. because you can really see the composition. And so it's my personal favourite piece from the Danger Tree collection. From Jack. Hello Jack. I've just changed the contrast of here so the painting looks more real to the colour tone that it is because the window's open. So which paintings? There's quite a few. Well, I like all of them, but there's certain strong ones that I really love. I really like Night Patrol. Me and Mark really fought over, because we get a copy of a print from each and we have to show it because there's two of us, and he owes me big time because he's got it. So I really like Last Post. That's one of my favourites, which is there, this one. And I love this one here, and this one, Silent Calendar. I think Mark's got all of them. No, I'm really I love this one. Oh, and this one. This hasn't come out yet. But I kind of changed my mind a lot, and each time I do a painting I want to take all the strengths from the painting and progress, and because some of the ones I did in the beginning, especially with the augmented reality, are some of my favourites because they have all the passion of the rawness of 4 years ago, well, when we were completely new to it. So I think I love all of them, for different reasons. I've just been asked a question with the paintings, whether I know what the final image is going to look like, and this is kind of why I work on 10 at the same time, is because I don't want any of them to be the same, and I want them all to communicate different things but be really cohesive together. So, and especially now introducing the tree to the Danger Tree, I think with some of the paintings, I mapped out the paintings and then used the app to see which one would look better with the tree. So originally I didn't know that a tree would go on it. But sometimes with paintings, there's a story or a narrative that me and Mark really want to capture that has got certain guidelines. But I really like to follow the materials and follow the emotional journey of what I'm reading or listening to, or the poetry that it's influenced, and kind of see the rawness which is documented of how I've reacted to that, or how Mark's reacted to that. Thank you everyone for listening, by the way, I really appreciate it. Just realised before I start I've got to set up my paints. What's their name? Jane. Hello Jane. Hello Jackie. Thank you so much. It's really kind. I just heard that that your husband was a veteran and he's taken up painting because you've seen some of my work, and thank you. That means a lot to me. That really does. I'd love to see his work, and yeah, it really helps. It helps with anxiety, and it really helps channel your thoughts, and it creates something really positive. And yeah, I'd love to see what he's done. Thank you very much. Okay, so with these paints, a lot of things that I use that I throw away, I get really cheap. This is from my fiance. He works in a restaurant, and I get these sometimes, so I can just pour in the right spirit and bleed the colour. And I use really cheap paintbrushes that I just throw away. Here you can see some of that. I used to have paintbrushes and I used to clean them, but it never really worked out. Sort of when I'm done, I just like to leave everything as it is and just go. Okay. to try and paint some of the light on that tree so it makes it more part of the landscape. Is this a good place to put the camera for you guys to see? As it is. Can you hear me? Shall I turn that off so you can hear me better? I just had a question from Matt, thank you. Hello. How much time do I spend painting in my studio each day? I've got into the habit now of waking up early, which is good. I didn't used to do that. I used to work later at night. And sometimes it can be about 8 hours, sometimes I can work till 10, sometimes I can leave earlier. It's all really important that I feel that I'm feeling really into the painting. So my days off are really important as well. And a lot of the stuff that I do, if I'm not in the studio, I'm working on my app at home. I'm trying to discover how I can make the painting stronger. But I think at the moment I maybe take one day off a week, and I've been in here in the morning and just go as far as I can before I get tired. I just want to show you, so this is the tree. I'm trying to do this. But I'm just trying to, can you see? I'm just trying to get the highlight of the tree here. And I've just had a question, what's my favourite part of being an artist? That you get to use your imagination every day, and you get to use your imagination every day and just create. I can't believe that I get to wake up every morning and do this, and be in my studio and afford the paints and the colours, and have things in my head with me and Mark, and then create them on a canvas. I think it's always been my dream to do this, and I still keep pinching myself really. I think it's incredible. And my favourite part is probably, sometimes you can spend months on paintings and they're just not working out, but there's that time where you think you've got something right and it's better than the last painting you did, and that's definitely the best feeling. There's nothing that compares to that. When you just look back at a painting and it kind of introduces itself to you, and a lot of the stuff I do is really impressionistic, and a lot of it's about mistake and the movement of materials, so sometimes I don't know how something's going to look, so just the way it shocks you and it looks even better than you can imagine. I really love that feeling. Has anybody got any questions? Is there anything that you want to know? Yeah, come and ask some questions. I'm happy to answer them. So I'm leaning back and taking a picture. What's their name? Bad Tourist. How long have I been working on this piece? Well, part of the 3 months of all the others. Yeah, I've been working on it for about 3 months, and I'm excited. And it's so it's the first time I've been introducing a sort of a different form, which I'm interested to know how it's going to change the painting and what I'm going to have to do to counteract it. And yeah, so about 3 months. Thank you. Hello, Carly Ashdown. Thank you very much for your question. She's asking whether I always have to paint flat on the floor, and I do for my photos. I also, because of the weight of the paint, actually a lot of, when I'm painting, I squeeze the paint straight from the tube, and so a lot of with the flowers I get the red pigments and I sort of throw it on, and it's the movement of the paint landing on the canvas, and it's if I was to lift the painting up, all the canvas or the paint would just drip down, so all the flowers would be really droopy, and especially with the white spirit, lying it flat sort of keeps its consistency of where it is, otherwise it would just drop down. So you have to work with gravity a lot with using really thick materials. I like it when the painting's dry enough, and then I can rest it like that and look back, and then I paint on it standing up and make a little mark, put it on the floor, take a picture, and put it back standing up, make a little mark so I can get some distance from it. But from using it on the floor, my best option is looking at the painting through here. So I spend a lot of time making marks and then going back to the computer, because that's a fantastic image. Couldn't be more straight on of where you can see the composition and what you're doing. And also you can see the movement of what you've been doing, and maybe it looked better 10 steps back. So then you can start erasing things if you can. Orchard Dry. Yes, hello Orchard Dry, thank you very much for your question. Have I painted from a young age? My mum said I had a portfolio since I was about 4, but I think loads of kids love drawing, but it's been really important to me. Like my earliest memories are scratching chalk and building mountains out of dust, and I used to have a book when I was about 7, and I used to just collect materials and put it in this book, and like crayon shavings and things like that, and I was really into materials and how they react with one another, which is really quite amazing that that's what I'm doing now, probably 32, 20 years later. And yes, I've always been painting. Thank you very much. She's also asked the questions, which artists inspire me the most? I think when I was a young kid I had a real alliance with the artists that we learnt at school. I had a fantastic art teacher called Mr. Evans, and he introduced me to Picasso and Van Gogh and Frida Kahlo and Salvador Dali, and I'm kind of addictive in things and obsessive of things, so that sort of never left me ever since. I'd still say they were my favourite artists just because they bring back so many memories of like creating a family and a safe place for me as a child. They felt like my best friends. They just talked about feelings and anguish that I was probably feeling with my OCD that reflected that. So yeah, I felt safe with them. So yeah, those artists are probably my favourite. Right, I'm going to just show you. I'm going to show you on the computer what I've done. So I've just added a little bit of a highlight. It's going to need a lot more work, but just to show you. We'll take one last image of how it is, and we'll go to the photos. So that was the one that we looked at that we first did. And these are the pictures that we've just downloaded since I've been talking. So there's these. And we're going to import them. And we're going to have a look. Now there's a lot of exposure to light, so I'd change the contrast of it. to make it more fitting to what it is. But these are the lines that have just been built up, you see? So what I've just done there, sped up, will probably be 1/4 of a second, probably even less. But I already like that. I like that the tree's really sitting itself within the landscape and reacting to the atmosphere in which it's in. I'd like to bleed that further out so the colour, you know, more of the yellow pigment is touching on the tree. But I really like that, and I want to change the contrast of it because it's got so much exposure to light because all the windows are open, and so there you go. I really love all the mess that's left around. I love that. I'd love to do something with that one day, just the desertion of paint. I really like. Is there any more questions, guys? Oh, well, that's just an example of how that happens. Yeah. I just want to say thank you so much for everyone for getting involved and coming into my studio and making me not so lonely on my own. And yeah, I hope everyone has a really good day, and thank you for listening, and I hope to do this again soon. So thank you very much. Thank you for your questions. Thank you. Bye everyone. Bye. Have a good day. Bye.